Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? It's a Saturday. We've got Easter tomorrow. So I hope everybody has a good Easter. Well, that's a good picture. So, according to Mark McGuire, which we can watch again, we've got the new stablecoin, BRICS gold-backed currency. China's had it out for a few months, sort of testing it, but using it. And there's about, I don't know, I think there's close to a couple billion in transactions, and Russia's coming out with theirs, so it'll be like $1 trillion in transactions. Uh, what's Trump doing with tariffs? That's only for people that trade with you. If I don't trade with you, the tariffs are absolutely meaningless because I don't have to do. I don't have to do anything. China said they're going to ignore the tariffs because they just won't deal with it. If I'm using gold-backed stablecoins, the last thing I want to do is worry about tariffs from the U.S. Who, by the way, do they sell anything besides what do we sell? We sell Facebook. You know, we a little bit of computer stuff. We have sports here. We don't sell that, although we're trying to go to every country and have a game there for some reason. Very stupid thing, because they're such hypocrites. On one hand, they want to not, we don't want to hurt the players, and on the other hand, that's all they do is Sunday games and Thursday games. How's that going to help the player? Yeah, I'm sure he won't get hurt in that game. And if I got gold back stable coins, do I really want U.S. monopoly money? Do I really want this, or do I really want this? Yeah, probably not if I have gold. I mean, I know as soon as I get this, I'm off to the gold store. I mean, I don't want this. As long as the gold store is stupid enough to keep taking it, fine with me. And as I'm saying, it's a need now. It's not a want, right? I want this, and I want this. I like to have these cards. I want to. I don't need them, but I want to have them. Right, and that's less. This is a perfect. Those are real assets, but I don't need them. Gold I need because this is gone. They might not want to call it gone yet. It's gone. As they show you, it's 99% gone. I think, what's the difference between 99 and 100? That's like when it's 36 trillion and I call it 37. What's the difference? It's going to be there in a month. The dollar is gone. Nobody wants it. They're all going to BRICS. There's 200 countries who are in line knocking on the door going, let me in. Yeah, I like these stable coins. Oh, I got to go buy gold. And my central bank's got to hold gold. Not a problem. We'll go get it. You have a very large demand for gold. So the price is going up. So you don't have to worry about it going down. It's not a stock. People get confused thinking gold's a stock. It's not. Gold is gold. Gold is an asset, just like this. This is not a stock. This isn't going down in price. This isn't going down in price. I mean, that's the difference between assets and stocks. The Van Gogh right there. It's not going to go down in price. Nah, it's a poster. Don't get excited. But the real one's not going down in price. It only goes up. There's more demand. It keeps it going up. So that's really what you're looking at is everybody wants the stable coins. It's a better trade, but how much do we really export in the first place? We mostly import. So Trump wants to charge China for selling us goods. How does that work? wait a minute, we're getting a big discount because their labor's so cheap and they're communists and they kind of the government subsidies for a lot of their goods. Apple's there and Tesla's there and all these companies go there for cheap labor to sell their products, and now you're going to tariff it. So you have to get the products. We don't have products. So why would you think there'd be a trade balance? In what world, if we don't sell anything and they sell everything and we move all our factories there, Nike, Tesla, Apple, how the hell do you think you're going to get a balanced trade? I mean, because not only do we not have anything to trade on, but our companies all move there for the cheap labor. And ask Tesla why he's there. Why did you choose China, Tesla? Musk. He wants to sit there with all his bullshit on the government and the doggy, and on the same token, he's sitting there putting in a factory in China. Fucking idiot. So China's kicking him out. They don't want anything to do with it. They're all going to stablecoins, which are at least I'm hoping, I don't know, is that they're actually real. Like, here's a stable coin. Look, you can see it, you can hold it. And I'm tired of Bitcoin where what's it look like? Can anybody tell me what Bitcoin looks like? No, because you can't see it. You can't hold it. You can't touch it. How the hell does it have any value? Who are these morons buying Bitcoin trying to make it sound like, well, it's got a value when you can't even see it? Well, it's digital. Oh, okay. So I still can't see it and I still can't hold it. I don't want anything digital that I would not want a digital link here. Right? Why would I want this card digital? I don't even know if I have it. I don't know what it looks like. This is the real card. This is physical. This is in my hand. That's the point of it. That's what you want. So that's why I don't understand Bitcoin. It's absolutely not. It's Madoff. It's the same reason that Madoff was able to scam everybody. They didn't care how he did it, but they knew they'd get 15% or 10%, 15% on their money. And they did like clockwork. They all got, I got my 15%. Okay, great. Okay, I'm fine. I got my money. And that's one thing that Madoff did was he paid everybody until the end when he should have got out in 2007 and just said, you know what, I got to close this because I can see the housing market's about to crash and you're probably going to need the money. And that's what I really, as smart as he was financially with the NASDAQ and all the shit he did and smart enough to run a big Ponzi scheme, you'd think you would have known, oh, wait, yeah, all these people are getting mortgages they can't afford. Obviously, this is going to go to, this is going to come to a head. Interest rates are going up. Nobody can afford the mortgages because they're not working and the people are going to want money. They're going to come for their money. So I better get out of this now. And he'd have been fine. If he got out of it, nobody would have known anything. But I give him credit. He paid everybody. I mean, some Ponzi schemes, you don't get paid. Like there was that Amway one, or whatever it was called. And you had to bring people in and it was the Ponzi scheme. And you probably didn't get your money out of it, right? You probably bought in and then had to find other suckers to play the Ponzi scheme, which was a joke, and you're not going to do it. So at least Madoff paid off. I mean, this Bitcoin, you're not even making money. I mean, if you bought now at 105, it's at 85. It's going down. Once people need money, what good's Bitcoin for? The key is once this is zero, once people recognize this is zero, and the only answer is gold and silver, once people realize that they're totally screwed, what good is Bitcoin? Oh, I got 85,000. Oh, yeah, but it's in dollars, isn't it? It's in this, right? And this is worthless, so it's worthless, and Bitcoin will have no value. This still has a value. It'll go to gold from dollars. Will Bitcoin be valued in gold? Who would possibly? I wouldn't give up an ounce of gold for a Bitcoin for all the tea in China. I might, for a Lemieux rookie, I might, give him 2 ounces of silver for it or something. But nowhere in hell am I giving gold for something I can't see, I can't hold. Oh my God, these people are just so stupid. Well, it makes money. That's why I'm in it. Oh, okay, good luck. Do you know what money is? Do you know it's worthless? No. So then what the hell are you doing? Um, Zelensky's out of his mind. He won't end the war. He's now recruiting 10-year-olds to fight. They can't drink, they can't smoke, but they can fight in our war, 10-year-olds. Are you kidding me? He's training 10-year-olds to fight the Russians. Why is this war still going on? Zelensky's out of his mind. Well, we don't want to give up territory. We want to fight till we get Crimea back and Donbass back and Kharkov back. We want to get all that territory back. You're fighting the Russians. Are you out of your mind? Well, the Americans are with it. Americans aren't. They're just selling you the weapons. That's all they care about. Unbelievable. So he's not giving up. I don't know. Trump, all he has to do is stop giving him money for arms, but he won't do it. I don't know what Trump's thinking, or he's paid off obviously by the defense contractors, and I guess he's threatened by them or something. I don't know. It's really bizarre. He wants to end the war, and then he won't. All he's got to do is stop giving them money. You stop the arms, they can't fire. It's all over. Putin's great. He goes right in. He gets them. He attacks. He's won the war by a mile already. All right, let's look at some baseball. Yesterday, I actually had a good day. I was kind of surprised. Okay, we start. Have the Cubs. They win. Pitt over 8.5 wins. KC over 8.5. Over 7.5 wins. Philly over 7.5 wins. I lose Tampa Bay, and I looked at that box score. I was a little surprised. I lose Cincinnati under 9. I lose Seattle, which is surprising. They're playing pretty well. I hit the Mets. I lose the White Sox. I hit Atlanta over 8. I hit the Dodgers under 8. Houston, I win. Oakland under 8, I win. And San Francisco, the night game, I hit that one. So I had a very good day. Pick-wise, I lose Tampa Bay. Then I win the Mets, Atlanta over 8, and Oakland under 8. So I go 3-1. So maybe we're starting to come into form now, finally. So let's see what we can do today. And let's go to... That's what happens when you have so many tabs open. You got to find it. All right, what's this? We'll talk about the NFL draft in a minute. It's possibly the worst draft they've ever had. There is no talent in here except for the running backs. The quarterbacks, there's a couple of good ones, McLeod and the guy, what's the guy from, where did it go? I mean, the only good quarterbacks are McLeod, Morris, and Gabriel. Maybe Curtis Rourke, maybe Tyler Sand. Will Howard might be okay. I was listening to Kyle McCord in the car yesterday, and it was like, is this guy for real? You sucked against Michigan 2 years in a row. You didn't win any games at Ohio State. You go down to Syracuse where the competition is much easier, and you have with a different offense that was more conducive, and you had a good but against the big boys, you didn't show up. You didn't beat Michigan. Why do I go to Michigan? Because that's Ohio State's big rival. And if you're really good, you beat Michigan. And if you're not, you lose to Michigan. And if you lose to Michigan, what are you going to do in the pros? So that's how you kind of base it. WrestleMania's today. I missed the Hulkster there. Hey, David. Happy Easter. How are you today? Questions, comments? The BRICS stablecoin currency's out. Gold back. Doesn't get any better than that. The COMEX was closed yesterday, obviously today, and then it will open at 6 o'clock tomorrow with China coming to bat. And my guess by the end of the week, we're at what, 33.15. We had a good week last week. It went right from 31 to 33 in 3 days. And I mean, it's gone. Middle of January it was 29.60, and now it's 30. It's up $400 in February, March, in 3 months. Mark McGuire said 4,500, and I'm like, yeah, that'll be what in a couple of weeks. I love how they're trying to make it. That Shane Moran goes, well, look at Mark McGuire. He predicted $3,000 gold. I predicted what, $10,000 gold 3 years ago, and we're almost there. Jesus, try to give Mark some credit. Look how smart he is. Yeah, okay, because you watch my videos. NBA playoffs are here. Yeah, there's no Wilt or Kareem. I was watching a thing on Wilt, and he just ate up Kareem in a series, the Lakers against Milwaukee. Wilt was just too strong. I don't know much about it. I mean, the NBA is so bad. It's just 3-point shots. I guess Boston's the best team, and Oklahoma State. I don't even know why they have a team there. So they're there. But the best way to bet the NBA playoffs is simply, I'm getting a lot of Darios today. The best way for the NBA playoffs are when the home team loses the first game, they must win game 2, especially if they're the better team. Then you bet the house on them. If it's 2-1, backs against the wall, if they go down 3-1, if they're a good team, you jump on it. It's all psychology, the NBA playoffs. We can't afford to lose the game. Our backs are against the wall. We're down 2-1. We're down 1-0 at home. Or we lost the first 2, and now game 3 comes, and we have to win that one. You're looking for the back against the wall by one team. Some of the series, depending if they're real strong teams playing each other, it's bet the loser back because they're pissed. Like Boston, when Boston and the Lakers, Bird and Magic, you would just bet the loser back. You'd win every game. Boston would win the first game by 40 points, and then the Lakers win the next game by 2 points in Boston. If they were down 2-1, the team that was down 2-1 had to win. They'd win. But that's when you have really even teams and you have players like Bird and Magic. Good luck finding anybody like that now. It's so watered down. So that's how I would bet the NBA playoffs. Look for the team that must win. It's the same thing we do with the NFL when they need to clinch or they start off like Cincinnati last year, started off 0-2, 0-3, had to win. Then we started jumping on Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. But you got to have a Joe Burrow to bet on. And you just keep going like that. That's what you're looking for is the desperate team, but they have talent. The weak teams, they're just going to keep losing. You can't bet on them. But the strong team who has talent and have a loss or two, and now they have to win, and they're a strong team with a good quarterback, like I said, a Joe Burrow, look out for them. That's exactly what you're looking to bet. So the NBA playoffs, you're going to watch game 1. Game 2 is your key. And then if it's 2-0, then game 3 is your key. And then you just walk it all the way through the series. Normally, the home team wins game 7, but that's not as much now because there's no real stars in the league. So keep that in mind. You bet on Jordan, you bet on Bird, Magic, Kareem. Well, that's who you bet on. We don't have that now. What do we got? Steph Curry? Some guy in Milwaukee, I don't know. We got Luca Brasi from The Godfather and the Lakers. I mean, there's these guys aren't stars. I mean, they're stars compared to the crap in the league and the style, but they're not. You're not betting on these guys. All right, let's go to baseball. So 3-1 on our bets yesterday. Maybe we're starting to come around. It's 12 o'clock, 105, first game, Miami at Philly. Philly, big favorite, minus 220, 10.5 over under. So they're expecting a lot of runs. What happened yesterday? Philly over 7.5 did win. So, yeah, that was an easy one. How could you make Philly a 7.5? I think the ERAs on the pitchers were terrible. Now it's 10.5. Cal Quintrell for Miami, 1-1 with a 5.79. Taiwan Walker, 1-1 with a 2.30. I don't see this getting to 10.5. Let's see. That's a lot with Taiwan Walker with the 2.30. I think you go with Philly, but they're minus 220. So it's a very small bet on Philly because the line's so high, it's hardly worth it. KC Detroit, we had the game over 7 and it pushed. Detroit always scores 7. Up, they're over 8. We got to go under, I guess. KC Detroit, Seth Lugo for KC, 1-2 with a 3.86 against KC Mize, 2-1 with a 2.60. Again, both pitchers very inconsistent. KC Mize has a good outing and then a bad outing. Detroit, the manager really needs his head examined on the Tigers. They got a couple of good hitters, like 3 hitters. And he pinch hits them for a guy hitting like 100 because he's right-handed and a lefty came in. You're like, huh? So are you saying your 300 hitter who bats left-handed cannot hit a lefty? Is this what you're saying? So that makes their whole batting average null and void because a Roberto Clemente, a Mays, an Aaron would hit lefty and righty, right? Mickey was smart enough to switch hit, but they would hit. Willie Mays hit right-handers. He had a 3-something bat. Look, Hank Aaron's lifetime batting average, 316. I assume that's his lifetime from 1954 to 1967. I didn't. So Milwaukee moved to Atlanta in 1966. I didn't realize that. So he was on Milwaukee for all those years, hitting 30, 40 homers every year. It's disgusting. 316 average. Do you not think? So the Detroit manager would have pinch hit for Hank Aaron to bring in a lot because they're pitching a righty to bring in a lefty. And the guy who hits 316 with, 700 and, well, this card won't show it. Here he only has 481 homers. This is 1967. What are you doing? If your guy's a 300 hitter, I would imagine he can hit lefties and righties. If you can't, you've got big, big problems. If you're saying, so all I got to do to get your guy out is to put a lefty in and you're going to pinch hit. I'm going to get rid of a 280, 290 hitter for a guy who's hitting 100 because my guy's lefty and he's lefty and I get him out. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Are you serious? The ball goes over the plate. The same for both. It's got to cross the plate. I didn't play pros, but I played pony colt. I mean, the ball, I didn't care if it was lefty or righty. I see the ball, and if it comes over the plate, I hit it. If it doesn't, I look at it. It's in the ground. It's over the head. It's outside. I don't swing. It's over the plate. It's over the plate. I hit it. It doesn't lefty or righty doesn't matter. So Casey Mai is very, very inconsistent. He was a first pick in the draft, but he basically doesn't. He's not really good. He's he's severely inconsistent. So Seth Lugo 1-2 with the 3.86. So the Tigers won't hit this guy because against good pitchers they don't hit. So we're going to have to go under 8. KC under 8. Just because every game the Tiger does is 7, and this should be a very low scoring game with 2 pitchers with decent ERA. Casey Mize maybe he'll play better at home. It's a big ballpark, so it should behoove a lower scoring game than like Houston or Boston or Chicago or something. Arizona and the Cubs. Now, yesterday's Cubs game, the over-under was 11, and they scored 20 runs, and it all came in 2 innings. What was it? Who they playing? Arizona got like 10 runs in an inning, and the Cubs got like 11 runs in 2 innings, all like the 7th inning. So it was 6 and 5 and 10. They ended up with 20 some runs, and the over-under was 11. Today it's 7.5. All right, the Cubs are 127.5. Zach Gallen 1-2 with the 4.64. Ben Brown 2-1 with the 5.09. And why is this? I got to go over here. Cubbies over 7.5. We got 2 very weak pitchers. Yeah, we're gonna make this 2 units. This will be a bet, especially in Wrigley. Now, is the wind blowing in? And does the wind really have that much of an effect on a ball? I don't know. These are little balls, and if they hit them hard enough, it's going to go right through the wind. I don't buy on a big pop-up home run, maybe, but not if they hit a line shot. Seattle and Toronto. Seattle's been hot. They're 10-10 now. Toronto 12-8. Seattle minus 130.8. Logan Gilbert 1-1 with a 2.38 against Jose Berrios 1-1 with the 5.16. So superficially, hey, Prophet. Superficially, this should be a Seattle game. Over under 8. Seattle's got 2 hitters. The rest don't hit 220. Yet they hit. So you look, they'll get 8 hits, and it's the 140 hitter got 2 hits, and the 160 hitter gets 2 hits, and you can't figure it out. So that's what we got. So the Cubs, where am I? So let's go Seattle, but no bet. I mean, their pitcher's got a 2.38 ERA, Berrios 5.16. So again, it's an average, and that's where you think it'll be good, and it isn't. Cleveland and Pitt minus 185.8. Ben Lively 0-2 with the 4.87 against Paul Skeens. Here he is, superstar. 2-1 with the 2.96. I'm not fucking around. I'm just taking Paul Skeens against the Brownies, and I'll be 2 units, please. Ben Lively 0-2 with the 4.87. So Pitt should win this game pretty easily with Skeens. He'll go about 6-7 innings. The Cards and the Mets. The Mets minus 185, 8.5. Matthew Liberatore, 1-1 with a 3.93 for St. Louis. The METS, Mets. Senga, 2-1 with a 106. We're going on New York Mets. 8.5. See that 7.5, 8.5. We really can go either way on. This should be a low-scoring game, but it could be a high-scoring game. Even though Senga with the 106 ERA, you'd think it's going to shut them out, but they're only human, and it's just averages. So keep that in mind. All right, the Dodgers in Texas, who won yesterday? I had LA under 8, and it won. So good pitching. LA is really not hitting the ball. The Dodgers are only a minus 102.8. Roki Sasaki's been pretty bad. Great investment on that one. 0-1 with a 3.29 ERA. Nathan Eovaldi 1-2 with the 2. So we're going to go under again with LA under 8, and we'll go 2 units. I think Eovaldi will shut him down, and I think Texas will win the game. Cincinnati and Baltimore. Cincinnati minus 105.9. Hunter Green, pretty good. 2-1 with a 0.98 ERA against Brandon Young. 0-0 with an 0.00, and I bet hasn't pitched yet. Oh, he's from Lou Lafayette, one of my favorite college football powerhouses. I don't get it against. Oh, that's today's game. So he hasn't pitched yet. All right. So he's a no pitcher. So I got to take Hunter Green. Go Cincinnati, and we'll go 2 units on them. You don't know what you're going to get with the Baltimore guy. Cincinnati, you got a guy with the ERA under 1, and he's 2-1, so he's pitched 3 games. Keep an eye on Hunter Green. He got better last year. I was betting against him, and then he started to get better. The Yanks played at Tampa, and yesterday the Yanks won. Tampa minus 125, 8.5. You get the Yanks as a dog. Carlos Carrasco, 2-1 with the 5.94. He's been a real pig. Shane Baz, 2-0. Well, we're taking Tampa today. I keep thinking of The Godfather when whatchamacallits, Connie's husband is the bookie, and Sonny goes and beats him up, and he says, "Hey, stop taking action against the Yankees." It was like in the what, the war was over. Yeah, this was mid-40s. So Joe DiMaggio was playing. Yeah, the Yankees were winning everything. So he's like, stop taking action on them. Well, just raise your juice, make it minus 300 to bet the Yankees. So we're going Tampa today with Shane Baz with the 142. This is the key about the ERA. It tells us who the pitcher is and what he can do, and then we go from there. And hopefully he pitches. He's at home, which definitely makes a huge advantage because the ballparks are all different sizes. Boston, New York, Chicago, the Dodgers, the Giants. So they all have little different nuances, which, you play there 81 games, the other team comes in for 3, and then maybe they don't come back. So they got to get used to it. And it's all about comfort, right? You get a new job, you get a new girl, you got to get comfortable. And here you got to get comfortable with Tampa Bay. And I think they're playing in their minor league ballpark. I don't even think they're playing at their stadium. So they got to get used to it. All right, Washington and Colorado. We had over 8.5 yesterday, and it got rained out. Washington minus 135 and 9. Colorado's 3-15, by the way. Mackenzie Gore for Washington, 1-2 with a 3.52, and Chase Dollander, 1-1 with a 5.06. We got to go over here. Colorado over 9 at home. It's pretty much by the 5th inning, it'll be over 9. Neither pitcher is really great that is going to throw a shutout, so we should get runs on both teams. The White Sox and the Red Sox. We had the White Sox yesterday. Don't know why. Boston had a real pig pitcher, I think. Chicago 4-15, Boston 11-10. Boston's a huge favorite, 325. Oh my God. And over under of 9. Shane Smith for the White Sox, 0-1, 204. Garrett Crochet, who I never heard of the guy, but he signed a big contract, so he must be good. 2-1 with a 138. So this is under City. So we're going Boston under 9. This will be 2 units. Chicago doesn't hit, but their pitching's so bad. They really have a bad bullpen. High ERAs in Boston. Boston should win the game, especially with this Crochet with a 138, but I'm banking on he shuts them out and they win 7-0. Because I can't take Boston and minus 325. You got to be kidding. I mean, the 200s are, but 325, it's not that much of a lock. But, I mean, I'm not taking the White Sox against this pitcher, but I do think it'll be an under. San Diego and Houston. And, yes, Boston does play under games at Fenway. San Diego, 15-5, Houston 9-10. We had Houston yesterday, and they got the win with Bianco. Goody. Michael King for San Diego, 3-0 with a 2.42. Hayden Wesniewski, 1-1 with a 4 ERA. San Diego's a 110, 7.5. King, 3-0 with a 2.42. I can't argue that. I'll take San Diego. The Chargers. Oakland gets Milwaukee. Oakland's been playing pretty good. I think Oakland won. No, we had Oakland under 8, and it won yesterday. Milwaukee minus 125, 8.5. Luis Servino, 0-3 with a 4.01 against Chad Patrick, 1-0 with a 1.76. You got to go Milwaukee, right? We got strong pitcher against. Not that it's a 4.01 is not that weak, but Milwaukee's pretty good at home. They killed the Tigers, so that's good. All right, Minnesota 7-13, Atlanta 6-13, but Atlanta's been coming. Atlanta's a huge favorite, minus 225, 7.5. Simon Richardson for Minnesota, 1-1 with the 430. Chris Sale, 0-2 with the 663. We bet Chris Sale last week. I think we bet the game under, and he was terrible. We got to wait for him to break out. I cannot take Chris Sale with the 6.63 ERA. And last game, he didn't do anything. Richardson beat the Tigers last time. I'm going to go with Minnesota. I can't go under because Chris Sale can't get anybody out. Richardson pitched well against the Tigers, so let's go Minnesota as a very live dog. I don't know what they're thinking with Chris Sale, that this isn't Chris Sale 3 years ago. This is Chris Sale now who stinks. So this is a very live dog, Minnesota. And San Francisco against California. Frisco 135, 8.5. Landon Rupp, never heard of him, 1-1 with the 4.80 for the Niners. Kyle Hendricks 0-1 with the 4.20 for California from the Cubbies. Total 8.5. This is where I really got to size up the hitters. So what I'm going to do is look at the lineup and basically, if he hits over 275, you get a plus. And if you hit under 225, you get a minus, and I'll come up with the score. Most teams are like twos. There's a few teams that had loaded with big hitter with good average. And then there's teams like Seattle who have one guy, or Houston. Houston's got one guy. And who did the Tigers play as? Kansas City. They have two hitters. Bobby Witt Jr. and one other guy, and then it's all gone. And then you get like the Tigers, all of a sudden they got six hitters, and I'm like, I've never heard of the guys, right? Now, I don't follow them that much, but I know their kind of main lineup, and they had a new catcher, they had a new second baseman or whatever. They had all these new guys who were hitting 350 because they're like 3 for 10. So that's what you got to watch too. Is here comes a new guy, comes up, or they hit him, or an injury, and all of a sudden. So let's go through it again. So we're taking Philadelphia because the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Now, Kansas City under 8, the Cubbies over 7.5. Seattle, Pittsburgh with Scanes, the METS, Mets. We'll go the Dodgers under 8.5 or under 8. Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Colorado over 9, Boston under 9, San Diego, Milwaukee, Minnesota. The picks, 5 picks. The Cubbies over 7.5, just because the pitchers aren't that great. Pittsburgh, Scanes. The Dodgers under 8.5 because they're not hitting and the pitchers are good. Cincinnati, a good pitcher against a bad pitcher. And Boston under 9. Really strong pitcher for Boston. They're all just 2 units. I'm not really looking to play anything because it's a little early, but if I see something to play, I'm playing it. So those are baseball for today. Let's look at NBA, but I'm just going to look right now. I don't even know who's in it. All right. The 5 seed against the 4 seed. This is 1 o'clock. Milwaukee at Indiana. Indiana's minus 5.5, 226. This is where in the playoffs, you're probably going to get more unders because they're going to be more chokes, especially these 3-point shots. But we'll see. So whoever wins, we're going to bet the other team back the next day would be the logic. Your Detroit Tigers have been hot early. Well, they've been hot. They hit the weak teams, and they're not my Detroit Tigers, please. And they're not my Detroit Lions. I don't root for any Detroit teams. The Red Wings, I would. If Yzerman buys my card, I'll root for him. Let's see. So, again, you watch game one unless you got a good fix on it. All right. Then we've got the 3:30 game. San Diego plays Denver. They're both 50 and 32. Denver at home, favored by 2.5, 224. I have no idea who's on any of these teams at this point. All I can go is by record. 50-32 would make me maybe Denver wins the first game at home. I mean, the first game is usually won by the home team, and game 7 is usually won by the home team. So yeah, Denver minus 2.5. They'll be fired up. The home team, because what happens is it's the role players on the visitors don't play well because they hear the crowd and they freak out. The home team bench players play really well because the crowd's cheering them on and they're all, insecure. So the role players are much better at home. That's why we like the home teams a little bit better. Detroit goes to the Knicks. The Knicks minus 7.5, 220.5. I have no idea. I can't name any players. I can't believe Detroit won 44 games. The Knicks are the 3 seed. This is at 6:00. I don't know. It's a big number, 7.5. I can't tell. I would think the Knicks would blow them out this game. Detroit's just lucky to even win, so they're lucky to be there. I can't see them doing anything. In the last game, Minnesota plays the Lakers. Magic, Kareem, James Worthy. 49-33 Minnesota, 50-32 LA. The Lakers are favored by 4.5, 216.5. All I know is LeBron. I don't know what Luka Brasi's on the Lakers. I don't know who's on Minnesota. Is whatchamacallit still there? Kevin Garnett. Maybe whatchamacallit? Kevin McHale, is he there too? It's all about the star players. I would guess LA would win big today because it's game 1. And then you play around. Now, so let's take the Lakers and the Minnesota Lakers. They're both named the Lakers. So game 1, LeBron goes off because they're at home and his kid can get in the game. What a joke that is, right? So Lakers win big game 1. Now we bet the loser back. Minnesota's probably getting 6 or 7. We bet Minnesota back in game 2. We hope the Lakers win by 2. Then we cover with Minnesota. Now the Lakers are up 2-0 going back to Minnesota. We jump on Minnesota hard because now they're down 0-2. They're down 0-2 at home and they must win. And it's a whole different series. You can't get caught into seeing the Lakers at home thinking they're going to be the same on the road. They're not. So now you jump on Minnesota in game 3 and see what happens. If they win it, you jump on them in game 4, and the series is tied at 2-2, which most of these will be like that. Then you go to game 5 back in LA. LA has to win because it's 2-2. You jump on the Lakers. They go up 3-2. Minnesota then has to win game 6 to stay alive. Minnie wins game 6, and then game 7 is at the Lakers, and the Lakers being at home for game 7 win. That is the correct way to bet the series, unless you have a total mismatch. So it's more for like maybe rounds 2 and 3. The first round, the 1 against the 8, and we got 2 of those, Boston and whatever, OKC. You got to be very leery to take the 8 seed. The 1 seed wants to sweep and get out. They got the better team. That's why they're the ones, especially as strong as these ones are. So here they're pretty even. So the home court makes a huge difference. In the first round, the 1 seed, 4-0, 4-0, maybe a 4-1, 4-1. Maybe game 4, the home team who's down 3-0 wins just for pride's sake. Or the 1 seed gets bored and beats them. But that's how you play the even one, the 4-5 specifically, you play that, you play the loser back, you're getting points. Totals, we have to see. To answer your question, Prophet, we're looking at here. You do play defense as we did in college with Houston, and we got to find out who's the best defensive team and pound them. But also in the matchups, Milwaukee plays Indy. How is that matchup? Who's it favor, Indy or Milwaukee? If it favors Indy, then we just pound them. If it's close, is it a home team? Usually the home team. Some series, the visitor wins all the games. So you got to really get the matchup down, who you want to bet, who the matchup favors. And that's kind of what we're looking at. Now we take round one, and that helps us with round two. But again, it's matchups, right? So Florida Auburn matched up, or Houston Duke matched up differently, right? Florida beat Auburn, but Auburn beat everybody else. And then Duke beat everybody and killed everybody. But a good defensive team like Houston got the win at the end. And then you would have thought Houston would have beat Florida. They had them the whole way, and then they let them slip. So you got to be careful with that. But that's kind of how you're looking at that. So we can review that. I'm not going to make pick. I might make a pick. Like I said, if I see a team down 2-1, where I did that, I had a 50-unit lock. The only one I've ever done in basketball a few years ago. Steph Curry was playing. I don't remember who they were playing. It was one of their later championships, and they lost. They had the big lead in game one, and then they lost it. And they were laying 3.5, but you could see they could score. They just lost it. And my 50-unit lock was Golden State in game two after blowing the 1-0 lead. I don't remember who they played, and they won by 50. They did the same thing they did in game one. They just didn't let up, and I knew they could score, and they just had a bad fourth quarter, and that's what I did. And that was the only time I've ever locked an NBA game. Anything new with Aaron Rodgers? Like I say, this is probably the weekend when they're talking about Jackson Dart. Let's see. The raving about Travis Hunter makes me think they won't take him. Why would you rave about somebody you're taking? You'd want to be quiet about it. The recent Aaron Rodgers comments did not seem to move. So I saw him on that one guy's show, but I was at the gym and I couldn't hear his comments, so I'm not sure what the hell he said. I'd give as much time as you want. He's Aaron fucking Rodgers. He's a superstar. You're gonna. I can't believe the Jets let him go. That shows you how stupid the coach is. And by the way, who's your quarterback? Oh, Fields. You're gonna win with Fields. Oh, okay. Good luck. We'll see you picking number one in the draft next year, New York Jets. How do you let Rodgers just walk and then bring in Justin Fields? Oh my God. Let's see. Nothing in NFL really. The draft's Thursday. We'll start talking about that. Aaron Rodgers breaks silence to trash the Jets, predicting, what is he predicting? Predicting the top 10 NFL draft picks inside coverage. We already know that. They're all worthless. We'll show a little more about Mark McGuire yesterday. Let's see what else. I did some little research yesterday. So I want to show you a fake silver coin. Uh, Gold, the spot's 33.15. A tenth of an ounce, roughly $385. This is on eBay. A quarter ounce, 945, call it 950. A half an ounce, 18 and a quarter, and an ounce, 35.25. These are, see, when they say, well, yeah, but you're getting a bad, in other words, a quarter ounce goes for more than just, if an ounce is $4, it's more than $1. It'd be $1.10, let's say. So they go, oh, well, you're paying more than the spot by betting quarter ounces, and they don't get it. But I can sell the quarter ounce for more than the quarter of spot also. I mean, I can sell it on eBay, a quarter ounce for $945. That's $3,800, and the spot's $3,300. So yeah, I get it back the other way. Now I know I got to pay for the auction and the commission, and I got to ship it. That digs into my profit. I get that. But what do you think he's selling it for? $945. So those are the prices on eBay for the coin. Now I didn't. They're averages for Maple Leafs, Eagles, and Cougarans and Philharmonics. So it's kind of a once in a while the Australians in there and the English and stuff like that. We don't want the PS 70s and PS 69s or MS. We don't want the Disney Mickey Mouse one. We're not looking at, we're just buying silver and gold. 1 ounce silver, 1 ounce gold. That's all we want to buy. And we don't really care because at the end of the day, they'll all be worth the same. And I think what you'll get as the stores have more difficulty getting the gold and silver in, people will buy whatever they have. So if I walk in with a Cougaran, believe me, I'm getting spot, maybe over spot, but I'm getting spot. Or I'm waiting outside going, oh, you're going to buy gold? Oh, well, he's going to charge you $110 over spot. I'll sell it to you for 25 over. That's actually what we should be doing as a business. Because they think they can get 110 over spot. So if I went in now, it'd be $34.25 for an ounce of gold. So I might as well sell it for $33.60, and you can save money on the premium because I've already bought these at $1,700-$1,800. If I was looking to sell, which I'm not, that's one way to blow out these coin stores who have the nerve to charge us $100, $110 over spot or Cougaran 70. But then when we want to sell it to them, they're going to give us spot. Excuse me. No, there's demand. See, that's where it doesn't work. There is demand for this $100 over. So there's demand for $34.25. There's demand to buy the spot. So therefore, that's the price of the spot because that's where the demand is. Therefore, if I sell it to them, then I should get $34.25, right? Why should I get $33.15? Why are you giving me spot when you're selling it at 110 over? And that's where the market is. So, it's good to buy from those guys, but I think to sell it, you go on eBay or we just get a little group going, hey, anybody looking at gold? Because by the way, you need it. Because by the way, there is no substitute. And there's no competition. So therefore, this is what you're going to do. All right. Let's play Eddie Murphy first. Now, I'm not going to play the one where he introduces all the commodities and he calls them a couple of bookies because the sound wasn't really great on it. But let's play In the Pits. And since I didn't get the video blocked, I can play it. This is Trading Places with the fresh corn, concentrate orange juice. So that's what the price is. So notice the start at 102 and the people are buying. So he's buying. The Duke guy's buying. Okay. So he just said he's selling the orange juice at 142. So what happened in the beginning is the buyer for Duke and Duke's buying the orange juice at 102. He keeps buying, but there must be a seller, right? That's what the people are in the pit. They're selling, some are buying from customer orders. In this case, Duke and Duke is the customer because he thinks the orange juice is going to have a problem. Supply will be limited and demand will go up. And with low supply, price will go up. So he's buying them at, but you can see how the price is set. It's a bullshit price. This is not a market-driven price. These are traders trading, but not the market. I guess a little bit of if there's orders coming in and there's people buying and selling, but they're really not buying and selling the oranges itself or the orange juice. They're just buying the derivatives. These are the derivatives. Then what happens? It goes up because Eddie Murphy and Aykroyd know there's no problem. So the supply will remain high and the price will remain low. So the higher the supply, the more of these there are, the lower the price. So if everything's fine with the orange juice, the price will be lower. So they go at 142, and what do? They're selling. They're selling short. Sort of like what the silver guys are doing to us right now. They're selling short. Everybody who thinks to buy are buying from them. And then why the price goes down doesn't make any sense, because if they're all buying, the price should be going up, as what was happening. So they are now selling first and buying second. Look at the mob. When our gold goes to the moon and our silver follows, the mob, and this is the mob I talk about, once the mob realizes this is worthless and they realize this is worthless, and they printed the zero, too much supply. Once the people realize it, you're going to get this influx of people swarming in, and the swarm, and that's not the right word, but I can't think of it. They're all going to be buying. The frenzy of, I got to get off the boat, right? I'm on the Titanic, it's sinking, I get off the boat. I'm in the dollar, I'm in the euro, I'm in the pound, I'm in the Swiss franc, I got to get off the boat. The frenzy, that's the word I wanted. The frenzy starts coming, and now it becomes emotional, and cost and price do not enter into it. I have to have gold and silver. Now I need it. And when you need it, you do this. And when you do this, price doesn't matter. And it's just going to go and go. However, with gold and silver, it's very limited. You have to take it out of the ground. You can't print it and inflate it and counterfeit it. Because if you do, you can easily check it. You get a magnet and hold it up. And if it holds, it's fake. Those metals, silver and gold, do not hold to a magnet. And you can take it to a store where they have the machines and do that. But the magnet test is pretty good. But there could be some counterfeits that can do that. I'd still advise, if you're buying it from the guy out of the street, you take it to the gold store and have him put it on his machine. But I wouldn't even buy it from him first. I would say, let's go to the store and let me verify it, and just look at his reaction. If he says, fine, let's go, then you feel comfortable that it's real. And if he says, oh, no, we can't go, then you just walk away. So when I make my predictions, I'm basing it on the frenzy that everybody realizes their dollars are no good. Right now, everybody's asleep in the matrix, not realizing the dollars are worthless. thinking, oh, we're not in a they don't even think we're in a recession. Oh, this is fine. Look, it has a 5 on it. Oh, this has 100 on it. It's fine. 100's worth $1, a dollar's worth 1 penny, and a €5 worth 5 cents. All right.
That's not right. How can the price be going down? Something's wrong. Where's Wilson?
The price would not be going down. There's more buyers than sellers right now. So what they're saying is they're selling more than they're buying? So it's still holding. I see a 137. We got all these people buying into them selling. So again, why is it, if all these people are buying to Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, why is the price going down? So again, they sold at 142. It's now 102. All they want to do is buy. So if you buy a stock, you buy Amazon at 100, it goes, then you sell it at 200, right? They sold first. So they sold at 142. Now they're waiting to buy. So the report will come out fine, and then they buy, and everybody realizes they've been buying high, sell. Hardly free market.
Gentlemen, the orange crop estimates for the next year. After calculating the estimates from various orange producing states, we have concluded the following. The cold winter has apparently not affected the orange harvest.
So now here's the frenzy. And now they've sold at 142 and at other stages. And now they're waiting to buy the shares. See, now he's doing the second act of his transaction. Selling at 142, buying at 40. In other words, you bought at 40 and you sold it at 142. So what we're waiting on is the frenzy of people to wake up, realizing there's nothing wrong with the orange juice, only in this case that there is something wrong in the dollar. But this is how the price of gold is set, and silver. Silver, the JP Morgan guys selling, selling, selling. It's ridiculous. This is not the way to get a market. This may be a way to sell derivatives and options, but this is no way to price the product. The market prices it at the grocery store. So if there is a freeze, then the price of orange juice goes up from $1 to $2. If there's no freeze, it might go down to 90 cents. The grocery store should be the price setter, not this COMEX. Same thing with gold and silver. It should be the marketplace, not here And then we're waiting on this. What we're waiting on is the frenzy. That's our ace in the hole. It's not just, this is where all those Mark McGuires and everybody doesn't understand. That's why you can't look at charts, because charts is not going to show you the frenzy. But we know the frenzy's coming because we see it, because we bet sports. We see the frenzy when everybody at poker. We see the frenzy when they're betting on football. I live that, so I see that. Oh, look at the line, and they run to get the line and everything. You see the frenzy, right? But these guys are bankers. They don't see the frenzy in their back office. That's what's going to happen. If I went to a card show and said, you can have this card for $10 and it's real and it looks like a 9 or a 10, I'd have a frenzy at my table to buy it. I don't know, if I saw it for $10, I'd buy it, as long as I know it's a real 1968 card. And I really don't, except for just the wear and tear on the card, know it's really a 1968 card. That's the problem with these reprints. You really, but you can tell because it's not coded and everything. But if you want to create a frenzy, you create the emotion of it, and that's really what it is. So let's wrap it up. So you're still buying.
Valentine. Hey, how's everything going today? How can you do this to us after everything we've done for you? Oh, see, I made Louis a bet here. Louis bet me that we couldn't both get rich and put you on the poorhouse at the same time. I didn't think we could do it. I won. I lost. $1. Thank you, Louis. How are you? Certainly.
So that's how it works, but that's what we're counting on, is the frenzy. The point in Titanic, when they realized the ship is sinking, I better get to a lifeboat. And that's coming in the dollar and in all the dollars in the whole world. Everybody printed it. However, Brics is smart enough to see this. And what are they doing? They're getting on the lifeboat with the stable coins backed by gold. And I'll show you that on Mark McGuire. And that's what they've understood. They have figured out what I've been telling you for the last 5 years. We need the lifeboat. The ship is sinking. Theoretically, once the currency is not backed by gold in 1971, we all should have been in line buying gold. But I was 12 years old at the time, so I didn't have my master's at that. Although I should have been trained in gold. Terrible parenting and terrible school education. But in 1971, we got off of gold. You know this is going to happen. You don't think it's going to take 50 years. Now, what's beautiful about us is we're in right at the end, and the gold and the silver is very affordable. This is going to happen to silver. I'm telling you, just put on your seatbelts, and we're going to the moon on silver. But what's happening is the JP Morgan guys are not Ackroyd. They're the other guy. They're Duke and Duke, and they're going, sell all the silver. And so they're selling it and keeping the price down. That's how they're price fixing with bullshit without any money. They're just selling these options. That's why silver's down. And as soon as people start realizing it and buying it and taking delivery, saying, okay, I'm going to buy from you and I want the actual physical gold and silver. The gold's working. The silver is not yet Basel III and is not yet, you got to pay them off. That's the difference. Once that happens, then you'll understand it. So right now, you're not really seeing it. So it's people are going, well, silver's not going anywhere. I'm not going to buy it, because people are so stupid right now. They have to actually see, oh, well, Bitcoin's at 80,000. I'll buy it now because it moved. Well, gold and silver doesn't really move. I'm not going to buy it. They're basing it on moving, not reality. They don't understand that it's because of the Duke and Dukes that gold and silver have been kept down, but we'll call them JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon. Because of them keeping it down, that's why it's been down. And now all the bullion banks are keeping it down because they got all these derivatives, because they've never had to pay up at the end. And they got all these shorts and they're selling and selling, but they can't get out of it. It's too high. They sold at 142 and bought at 29. What all the gold guys are doing is selling at 25, but now the price is not 18. The price is 32. What are they going to do? They can't buy at 32. They've sold it at 25. They're screwed. And therefore, but they don't have to cover yet. But they're going to cover at 36, I think. They're going to have to start covering. And once they do, they can't afford it. They don't have enough money to cover all these derivatives that they've been doing and not paying for. So it's sort of like you going to the grocery store and you put it on your credit card. You go on a trip, you put it on your credit card. You do all this, but you never pay the credit card. Well, eventually you owe the credit card. And that's what's happening now. They owe the credit card and they owe the gold. They owe the silver. They have to cover the silver and they don't have it. And they don't have enough money to cover it. This is going to be a disaster. Now, this should happen by July 1st. We're sitting there going, we're Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd going, I'll buy it. Give it to me. I'm going to buy the silver. I want delivery for my silver. And you got to deliver, and they don't have it. So this will end. COMEX, this will end. The silver price fixing is it'll start coming up higher. And that'll be the difference. Now, silver goes to the moon. We're sitting there. I'll buy it 32 an ounce. Yeah, let me have, like I said, I'm not sure how wrong this is, and I think it's pretty damn accurate and pretty damn intelligent. I could take an ounce of silver and get 100 ounces, an ounce of gold and get 100 ounces of silver for it. So I can walk into the store, here's an ounce of gold selling at $33.15, and the silver selling for $33. I want 100 ounces of silver for my gold coin. And you don't want to do too many of these, but okay. And then silver starts moving, as it will. And it'll move. We'll see if it moves faster than gold, probably because it'll be cheaper. I got to pay $3,400 for an ounce of gold or $33 for an ounce of silver. And as it started, now it's $50. Now it's $100. All of a sudden, I'm at about a 20-to-1 ratio. Now I'm at 100-to-1 ratio. So I could theoretically take my 100 ounces of silver back to the coin store and get 5 ounces of gold at a much higher price of everything. So I turn 1 ounce of gold into 5 ounces of gold. So theoretically, that's probably not a bad move. I wouldn't do it with too much gold because gold's still going to the moon and you don't want to be out of gold, but silver should catch up. Silver will move. Eddie Murphy, right? You can do it, but that's it. So that's the point. You can do it. It would be a very smart move right now to do 5. If you have Bitcoin, I would highly recommend getting the hell out of it, because show it to me. Let me see it. Let me hold it. Oh, I can't. If I was stupid enough to be in Bitcoin, I'd be selling, what's it at, 85,000, and buying as much gold and silver as I could get with it. Because when that goes to 80,000, then you're a smart guy. Right now, you're not so smart. You got to get out of it. Well, no, Bitcoin's going to go to 1 million. Oh, really? 1 million what? Not dollars, because dollars won't be around. What's your Bitcoin going to be worth? But I know my gold and silver is worth gold and silver. And I know it's always going to be worth gold and silver because you can't print it. So I know I can't lose in gold and silver, but you can lose. And it's like buying a Rolex or buying a Picasso or Van Gogh or the Mantle cards. You can't lose in it. And the difference is, like I said, let's say this was worth 60,000. Let's say it's a PSA 9, 60,000. The Maze was 80. And the dollar goes out. So now this is worthless in dollars, as everything will be. And then it comes into gold. And this will have a value in gold because people with gold would want the urn because it's a real asset and there's always demand for it. And that's what you get for it. So if I have Bitcoin and it goes to zero and I have gold, do I want a Bitcoin? Not a chance. Not a freaking chance. I don't want anything to do with. I'm not selling my gold for Bitcoin. I'm not selling my gold that I can hold in my hand for something I can't see or hold. I don't know what it is. And it's certainly not the gold Bitcoin that you see. That is 8 ounce of gold. That is not a Bitcoin. So why do I want something I can't see or touch? I have no idea what it is. And how it's getting that value is just Ponzi scheme. It's Madoff. What was Madoff's worth, right? Look at Trump. He did his little Trump meme coins. They got up to $60, $70. They're worth $7 now. And I guess it just got to the point where you could sell them. And I would think everybody's going to get the hell out of them. Anybody stupid enough to buy them, these meme coins or whatever. Now, what Brics is doing is coming out with stable coins, but they'll be backed by gold. And I imagine they're real. I imagine you can see them and hold them. That's my guess, but I don't know yet. I know they'll have this. They'll have gold-backed money. I mean, the population has to use it. I think some of them will be electric for trade or digital or whatever you want to call it. So if they buy oil from, if China buys oil from Russia, they'll pay them in this digital stable coin. However, if the citizens want to go to the store and buy something, then I would think it's either going to be a stable coin or a dollar that they can use, and it'll be gold back. And then to the victor go the spoils. The gold always makes the rules. As the West collapses, the East is now kings. What a great job by our government. What a bunch of idiots. And it's because they're listening to George Soros, and Donald Trump is two-faced and is not what he appears, and hires a Soros guy to run the treasury, and he's basically killing the country. Maybe he's using them as a scapegoat. Well, it's Scott Bessert. He's the one that told us. We listened to him. Yeah, I know he's from whatchamacallit. I know he's from Soros. So yeah, I guess that's probably what I should have understood. I'm sure he did it on purpose, probably to break the dollar, to blame Soros, not not my fault. I was listening to the Soros guy because Soros is so good. Yeah. How is he in the U.S. government? Biden gave him a medal, and now Trump's got him. Like, what the fuck? Why don't you just put Hitler in there and be the same thing? Yeah, let's listen.
You ask us, what is the best gold solution? Well, there is no best, but since we've done this for 25 years and started to do it for ourselves and the major investors we advise, obviously we think it's the most perfect system there is, which is number one, choose a company with best management that you can find in the marketplace with experience of gold. Number two, they should have the best vaults in the world, the safest in the best jurisdictions. And three, you should be able to have direct access to your physical gold or silver, be able to actually go into the vault and touch your gold and silver so you know that it's there with obviously the bar numbers, certificates, etc. That's the only way to hold gold. People ask us, what is the best?
The best way is put it in the safe and hide it, and you're the only one who has it, so you can go touch it. This is good if you can ever watch Mystic Magic, the Truth of Sleeping Beauty. It's a real dark one. They actually have the movie out. It's so much better than Disney. All right, let's look at Mark McGuire. Here's a good one on Egon.
When should you sell gold? That is a very interesting question, because right now you should buy gold, not sell. And you should sell gold when all major economies running budget surpluses and have no debts, and when there's no money printing. That is the same time as elephants fly. It's not going to happen in the very near future, that we like the next 10 years or so. So for the next 10 or maybe longer years, you should keep your gold and don't think about selling it. There might be times when gold is overbought, but that is not going to happen in the next few decades.
Do you live in Michigan and have...
So that's your answer about selling gold. It's not. Now, if you have bills and you need to go on a nice trip, you want to go on a nice trip, yeah, sell an ounce of gold, because the problem is you're getting back in monopoly money. That's the problem with selling gold. What are you going to get? You're going to get this. This is the problem. You don't want this. So you only sell a little bit to pay a bill or go on a trip, right? Kids' college or something. That's the only reason, because you don't want to hold this. This is worthless. Therefore, you want to hold your gold. Plus, gold is it's just starting to go up. As I said, it is now a need, and you're bringing smog into the picture. And poor Rumpelstiltskin's arm's getting hurt, trading dollars for gold. So understand that this is not a stock. This is real money. It's a real asset. Why would I want to sell Mario Lemieux's rookie card? If it goes up enough, but the only reason I would do it would be to buy gold, because my intention is take the money to buy gold. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. But that's the outcome, is to buy more gold. But I never want to get out of gold unless it's to buy, like I said, a vacation or a bill. And then it's and if you have 100 ounces, you're selling one, maybe two. And, I'm starting to feel a lot better that it's now $33.15 gold than it was at $2,100, $2,200. I might need to sell it now. I can sell an ounce. I'm getting $33.40. I mean, now I start feeling a little bit better, going, yeah, that'll take me to Russia or meet Daria somewhere. All right. All right, let's watch.
Every single reason.
Let's watch Mark McGuire. So we touched on it yesterday, but there's a few parts I want to revisit. The silver part, the BRICS part, where the stable coins coming out. It's already been out by China. So they're already using gold-backed stable coin. And, I think all that the blockchain is, I don't know how a bank works. So when we use our credit card and I go to Target and I buy $100, it goes right on the card right then and there. So I don't know the big deal about it. Is that being done by blockchain? I don't really care how it's being done. And I think that's what blockchain is. So if you go to Target with the digital stablecoin, it goes through and gets credited to your account, but I don't see what difference it is than what's happening now. Again, I use my credit card. I can take a minute later. I can go into my credit card and I see the transaction. What I don't get the problem. Swift is a problem where maybe it's over the different countries. So if I do a Swift transaction, it takes 7 days because all the banks take their little chunk out of it. So they're bypassing the Swift banks. That's one thing that Brics is doing. But when I send Daria money, it's instantaneous. Here's $100. Boom. She gets the $100 right away. So I don't really get what the problem is with that. Sometimes it takes a day. When I get PayPal money for Teaserking, I get the money in, I transfer it to my bank. Not a problem. Generally, it's the next day. I could do it in minutes for a couple dollars. I go, well, I don't need it this second, especially it's like Sunday afternoon. I don't need it Sunday evening, but Monday morning, the Teaserking money is in there. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. And that's the key. So that's what I'm looking at is that. So I don't really get the blockchain. It's a ledger, which basically says Howard bought tools at Target for $200. Okay, what's different than that? So I don't get it. But that's where that's what they're doing now is the stable coin, and I am hoping we get coins. Maybe that's why they did it. But you got to be careful if they print too many, because if you can only print as many coins as you have gold. So you got to be careful they don't overprint. So I would still hold my gold in gold as much as I can and use a little stable coins. And when I get paid, are they going to get paid in stable coin? Is Daria going to get paid stable coin from her job? I don't know. I'll ask her. But Russia hasn't gone to it yet. They're doing it, and they'll probably roll it out when they have the meeting in Brazil. What is it, May or something like that? They'll probably roll it out. But it's already been rolled out by China. So we're going to listen to Mark McGuire, and he'll tell us this. All right, Mark.
Look at every reason that gold is going to 4,500. I'm talking about this year. They now have to keep printing or we crash. We've got this talk with Andrew McGuire.
Mark McGuire.
All right, Andrew, at the open of the first quarter of 2025, gold was priced around $2,650, and you said that gold would reach $3,000 by the end of the first quarter, and we did, in fact, hit that number. And so then in our last episode, just 2 weeks ago, you said gold was at 3,100, and again, you went on the limb, and you indicated that we would hit 3,500 by the end of the second quarter. And you did warn there would be dips, which would provide stackers golden opportunities, and they seem to have played out exactly as expected. Now, can you update us on what our targets are moving forward?
Yeah, Shane, great to be with you. Great to be with everyone. Thanks for collecting all the questions. I know it's difficult to get to them all, but let's distill it down, because the first thing that people want to know is, well, where are we going to be? What's happening to gold? So this time, I'm going to go on an even bigger limb, Shane, and target a physically driven gold price that not just reaffirms our 1st of January estimation of a minimum of $4,000 per ounce by the end of the year 2025. Because why? Because we see the PBOC active, and it's now bringing the bullion banks in to understand how they can quantify supply demand. I figure that is too conservative. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at every single reason. We'll look at every reason that gold is going to 4,500. I'm talking about this year. Now,
next month.
In this episode, Not only that, we're going to have an update. I know I've had so many questions on this. We're going to have an update on really the mechanism that will convert Glasnevs, remember, the gold-backed currency, and how that is going to evolve into a tradable stablecoin, allowing institutional-sized gold-backed transactions to be settled in less than 7 seconds. Think about it. Shane, let's first answer the subscriber questions where the rationale for higher prices are really 100% based on supply-demand metrics. So let's kind of step through the reasoning. So let's step through this. On the 1st of March of 2024, the PBOC opened up the Shanghai Futures Exchange, and that was gold trading, enabling gold trading to be accessed by commercial and private citizens. And as we've tracked every month since then, it was clear that this was an official strategy to drive massive gold investments into China. And from the open of the 1st of March 2024, this launch, into the end of the year, and this is the 31st of December of 2024, so into the end of the year, we evidenced gold rising by an unprecedented $760. And then we saw that initially here, and we saw a little bit, here, but then we saw a little bit of a pullback into the end of the year. And then essentially this is also, and this is why we have a note here, this is where repatriation also commenced. And that was as soon as it was known that Trump was going to take the helm. And suddenly we had the realization that there was going to be audits and one thing and another. So, we're covering several things here, but essentially we're really looking at this China investment. So the reason we're looking at it now, and despite the end of the year rinse, which we saw, it still ended up closing, physical gold still ended up closing $620 higher than the strategic Shanghai Futures Exchange launch. So the reason we're talking about it here, by no coincidence, 1 year later, and we're looking at this now, in the early stages of the second quarter of 2025, we're witnessing a similar officially sanctioned, commercially targeted gold buying mandate being sprung on the West, driven by a directive for Chinese insurance companies to invest 1% of their assets into physical gold. And as we drew attention to in our last episode, it will require an even larger percentage of available gold mine supply to be drawn down into China by the fourth quarter of 2025. And this kind of leads us to some targets. Now, these were originally, if you remember, we had all of these circled in previous episodes, 3,000, 3,100, 3,200, etc. And we've had to move the Basel III from 3,300 to 3,500. And we'll go through why in a minute, and we'll go through what all of this means. Now, this is the spot gold chart, not the futures charts. So, and again, also the spot chart here on a daily basis. Now, as we will look at shortly, the current PBOC mandate will easily match, if not surpass, a similar $800 higher price than was benchmarked at the end of the first quarter. And that was benchmarked at where the BIS, where the Fed BIS squared their BIS borrowed swaps at spot 3,100. And as we will look at, these higher price estimates are quantifiable. This latest PBOC mandate alone conservatively puts the Chinese-driven gold price at 3,900, and that is conservative. In fact, all the Western bullion banks have woken up to quantifiable supply-demand metrics that price gold around these levels or higher. And when I say these levels, I mean $800 higher than 3,100. Also, every ounce of gold that enters China stays in China, and by proxy is collectively owned by the states, so can be easily accessed in times of war. And we've already previously looked at how the over 2,500 tons of, 25,000 tons of citizens' gold could be patriotically leased from citizens by the state in a time of war. And while we read this as a military war, there is no reason why it could not be accessed in a financial war, which we're looking at that being foreshadowed right now. Furthermore, it's no secret that Beijing's monetary gold purchases have not yet been counted as official reserves, which, when aggregated with what is salted amongst the state-held banks and very large 400-ounce gold held by the generals, is far closer to 40,000 tons. And that's in addition to what is held by citizens. And if and when it suits Beijing to reveal these true reserves, I don't want to digress, so we will look at how linked with Russian reserves, these gold reserves will ultimately widen the scope of the digital RMB, and we'll look at that shortly. But bottom line, the major bullion banks are aware gold that enters China does not return, which is why the bullion banks have woken up to looking at quantifiable supply and demand metrics that value gold between $500 and $1,200 higher. And we're going to look at where...
So one thing he said is that China's got 65,000 tons of it. So I don't know when these people say they got 2,000. So 40,000, he said, by the generals, by the banks, and 25,000 by the citizens, which they'll just take because they're China. 65,000 tons. He who has the gold makes the rules. We have, zero. We can't even look at an audit in Fort Knox and find an ounce of gold there. That's our real problem, right? So Trump can talk about these tariffs all he wants. What are you going to do? You're dealing with monopoly money, and they're dealing with gold. They win automatically. So they're laughing at your tariffs. They're saying, I don't even want your money. You can't tariff me because I'm not going to deal in dollars. I'm dealing in gold. If you don't want my products, fine, we'll sell it everywhere else. We don't need to sell it for you. But who's the loser? We are, because we can't get all the products that China makes really cheap. We're not going to be able to buy. So who ends up losing in these tariffs? We do. Because I can't buy this polo shirt. It's going to cost me $500 because now I got to buy it from a U.S. company, and they're not competing. They're going to charge high. Although, again, they got to sell it in the market, so that'll keep it lower. But that's what's happening. So he's going to get to the stable coins in a minute.
Where Goldman has brought forward what was originally expressed as a tail risk of 4,500 as being brought potentially forward to the end of 2025. And we'll look at all of this, but essentially we've hit one by one these targets here. Now we're seeing a price of 3,300 being overtaken today. This is when we expected Basel III, and it was this level that we thought should be achieved by the 1st of July at the latest. Now we've already seen, so we're bringing that forward again, and it's really to do with China and this sudden spike in volume, which is going to be similar to what we witnessed here. And then basically, so we would think that 3,500 is about where we would be at by the end of this quarter, by the end of the second quarter. So really, we're just trying to bring in what we realistically expect based upon supply demand and this bullion on a one-way journey.
Now, these supply demand metrics key off the PBOC's sanctioned gold accumulation plan, and I'm talking sanctioned, that mandates China's insurance companies invest 1% of their assets into physical gold by the year end. And this is an official directive to buy gold in size. These mandated purchases alone will draw down some 8% of mine supply, and that translating to around 400 tons into a market that runs a 900 ton a year supply deficit. Now, in order for the 10 largest state-owned pension funds mandated to convert
1% of their assets into gold, they alone will be absorbing 30% of the gold market. Think about it. But when you aggregate that with unofficial, unreported 400-ounce PBOC monetary gold demand, which is never ever disclosed, liquidity providers estimate this is very likely to 40%. This is not going unnoticed. It's not going unnoticed that the PBOC has stepped up selling US treasuries, that means selling dollars, and buying gold with the proceeds. Now, the aggregated demand alone is conservatively estimated to raise the price target to $4,500 per ounce. These are supply-demand metrics that enable bullion banks to quantify and present to their clients why to expect an aggregated plus or minus $4,000 gold price. Hence, all the bullion bank buy recommendations at current prices. And we can see today that we're making new highs. Now, as we assessed in our last episode, this is an unfactored drain on demand. It's not going unnoticed by these extremely well-connected bullion banks who, having filled their boots long before publicly raising their gold price targets, they're now doing so on a weekly and now on a daily basis, alongside end of first quarter higher gold price estimates from several bullion banks. That was JP Morgan, UBS, Deutsche Bank, Citi, and most notably Goldman Sachs, who reaffirmed tail risks of a $4,500 gold price in 2026, possibly being brought forward to 2025. It's these factors that are making them take notice.
But again, they're not looking at the frenzy that I pointed out in Trading Places. They're looking at charts, and they're like doing that. Oh, let's see what the chart's doing, that is not how you do trend analysis on something that's price fixed. You are not at free market in gold and silver, so you can't just say that. We're banking on the frenzy. Everybody realizing their dollars are worthless, realizing Bitcoin, you don't even know what it is. You can't even see it or touch it. Realizing that only gold and silver is the key. And then you're going to see $8,000, $9,000 gold, because when the frenzy hits, because there's not that much gold to begin with. So if China wants to keep buying and have 1% into their insurance companies, where are they going to get it from? There's only so much there, or they're going to the gold mines. And that's my misconception of buying miner stocks. The miner stocks are based on that they have all this gold in the mine. But if China and India and Russia are going right to the mine to buy, the mine's not going to have anything. So the price goes up, but the mine has no inventory. So how is the price going to go up? Anyway, when you increase demand on an object that has very low supply, gold and silver, price goes to the moon. That's what all he's talking about is demand going up. Supply cannot go up. That's all we have. Go dig it out of the ground, and then there goes price. And now that's what he's talking about there. I don't buy the 4,500 by the end of the year. I don't think you can quantitative that. I certainly can't. You couldn't have predicted 33.15 last week, and it could easily be 3,500 by the end of April, on its way to 4,000 by the end of May. You could go up 5,000-6,000 a month. You have no way of knowing. Again, we don't know what this is. This is the gold price that people will pay. And here's COMEX. We don't know what this is. Could be 5,000, could be 10,000, could be 30,000. My guess it's closer to 20 or 30. All right. What's Mark doing now?
Pension fund demand, which we referred to, which liquidity providers had already reported began picking up on the 1st of April. Well, we're only on the 16th here now. Now, as was noted by Bloomberg here in this link, in addition to the pension fund gold buying mandate, the PBOC has also allocated fresh gold import quotas to commercial banks to meet increased demand from institutional and retail investors amid escalating trade war. And I mean a quote from their, this is what they said: to meet significantly increased appetite. This flies in the face of some Western reports of a lack of investor and jewelry demand due to higher prices. Well, it says it all. In fact, it's quite the opposite of a lack of jewelry demand. The bullion bank expectations of hundreds of dollars of higher gold prices this year are driving a fresh influx of very sticky CTA, that's commodity trading advisor, Western traders, ETF buyers, COMEX demand, which complements what's going on, which ironically is underpinning dips and forcing Asian buyers who would love a discount. So Asian buyers of jewelry and investment bars are having to accept higher prices. What's happened is the bullion banks have woken up. They've woken up to the fact that there's a quantifiable metric in place that values gold higher.
All right, Andrew, can you expand on the role?
So this is the one area there's no substitution. What do I tell you? The New York Strip gets $20. I'll buy the Delmonico or whatever. Or instead of salmon's getting really high, I buy chicken or something. There's no substitute for gold except for silver. So if you want gold, whatever the price is what you're going to have to pay for it. But again, the goal with gold is to accumulate inventory. You're not really looking at price. You're like, oh, I bought an ounce. I bought a half ounce. I bought a quarter ounce. That's gold. You're not substituting it. There is no substitute for it. And as gold price gets higher and higher, is going to make silver price, make people go into silver as the substitute for the gold. But really, there is no substitute for gold, but the closest would be silver, which is also a precious metal. So that's what you got to be aware of. So that's why you're not income averaging. You're not waiting for it to drop, because it ain't going to drop. You just keep buying and accumulating as much. And the more money that you have available, you use it to buy gold and silver. Maybe you can't buy an ounce, buy a quarter ounce, buy a half ounce, buy a tenth of an ounce, just fucking buy gold. It doesn't matter. The more you have, the better it is, because it's going up. So you're buying something for 100, that's worth 500 in a month, or $2,000 is now worth. We bought the ounce at 2, it's now worth 3,300. It's going up to 4,500, and my guess it's going up to 10,000. So I want as much as I can at these prices. And as I showed you, Egon, you never sell it. What a beautiful fucking piece of inventory.
Out of the gold-backed stablecoins you had mentioned previously.
Oh yeah, this is getting so interesting. I mean, it's like all these pieces are coming together, and I think perhaps tariff kind of instigated this. As the US-China trade war escalates into what really actually threatens to roll into a once-in-a-century financial war, and it's ignored by every mainstream media channel, payment chains are rapidly onshoring, providing sufficient liquidity to actually digitize Glacier's fully beta-tested Brics facing gold-backed commodity currency. And remember, the brakes were put on when sanctions came on, and there was one thing, a reason or another. It's simply the liquidity wasn't there, nor was the will. The mechanism wasn't there to make it work. Now, while not formally named yet, this stablecoin will be a component of the suite of Bank of Russia messaging system. It's one of their suite that exists in that system. And while it's not named yet, it's likely going to be called, let's for the sake of it, call it the digital ruble. And this flows off the back of a major de-dollarization move that's already underway, seemingly, again, ignored by the mainstream media. The PBOC announced that digital RMB has now been fully connected to 10 Asian and 6 Middle Eastern countries, facilitating 38% of global trade is able to bypass the weaponized SWIFT payment chain. Now, the first test between Hong Kong and Abu Dhabi Middle Eastern supplier was paid through the digital RMB, for example. We've seen that the funds no longer went through at 6 intermediary banks, which it would have done. Instead, they were received in real time through a distributed ledger, and the handling fee dropped by 98%. Also, settlements are 7 seconds versus SWIFT's 3 to 5 days. This lightning payment capability makes the traditional clearing system dominated by the US dollar instantly look very clumsy. Furthermore, blockchain rails make these transactions traceable and AML compliant. This technical advantage has enabled 23 central banks around the world to actively join the digital currency bridge test, enabling Middle Eastern energy traders to reduce settlement costs by 75%. And for example, European car companies can use the digital RMB to settle freight through the Arctic route, increasing trade efficiency by 400%. Led by China and Russia, this BRICS strategy makes the US dollar hegemony feel a systemic threat for the first time. And while the United States is still debating whether digital currencies threaten the status of the US dollar, 87% of nations, that is 200 countries, have already adapted the digital RMB. Cross-border payments.
I'll get right back to it. So that ends the dollar, folks. 200 countries are off the dollar. They're trading in digital China or digital Russia. It's gold. That's why they all need gold. That's why you see the price of gold going up, is they all need gold to do this trade. They're all getting out of the U.S. because we don't make anything anyway, but Facebook and what do we make? I really am at a loss. You can get gas and oil from Russia, from Saudi Arabia. You don't need the U.S. for that. China makes all the goods very cheaply, so you don't need the U.S. for whatever goods we make, which I'm not quite sure. This is what you do. You sabotage yourself by getting out of, like Ford did it. I was working at Ford, and they were all excited they're getting Chinese labor much cheaper. This is what you did. You ended up, you don't produce anything in America. And so why does anybody want to trade with you? I mean, maybe the agriculture, okay, and that's it. Even China, it's like we sell them meat, and China said we don't want it. They got it from Brazil or Argentina. So this is the key, right? No demand, no value. Do I have demand for this card? No. Oh, it's worthless then. If I have demand, that's how I get a price. If I don't have a demand, it's zero. Do I have a demand for this? Well, 200 countries said no. 200 countries are joining the BRICS thing, having to have gold to play. And they all trust gold. Nobody trusts Russia. Nobody trusts China. And certainly nobody trusts the U.S. All right, back to Mark.
Already exceed 1.2 trillion US dollars. And while the scope of RMB settlements are limited, and everyone will say, yeah, but it's limited, they're growing. However, it's the ability to digitize Glasnev's gold-backed stablecoin on a 7-second BRICS-facing settlement currency. And these volumes are about to exponentially explode. You know how much physical gold China and Russia and the BRICS nations have accrued. Trump has threatened any nation that trades outside the dollar. And I remember he said, well, one phone call, I think I saw this the other day, one phone call and they'll be back on the dollar, is what he says. However, with the dollar already weaponized against China, Russia, and Iran, and given that the sudden expansion of tariffs equals sanctions, and that BRICS nations control the lion's share of global commodities, the US has very little additional leverage over China and Russia's expansion of their alternate non-dollar settlements. It just needed the facility. And these are the liquid payment rails that Glasnev's beta-tested gold-backed currency required to facilitate BRICS nations to trade the 85% of global commodities they produce or consume. Now, on Friday, it was no coincidence that Lavrov also promised access to alternative payment platforms for non-BRICS members, referring to the financial messaging system of the Bank of Russia. So all the clues are there. It's just that it's not seen yet. The digital RMB BRICS payment bridge is not only a multinodal, multipolar global payment tool, but also a technical carrier of the Belt and Road strategy and enables the build out of the digital Silk Road. This is very big news. It means de-dollarization in a big way. It will completely reset the world order.
Hey, Andrew, before we started recording today, you had...
Andrew. All right, let's go to the silver market.
Futures exchange, and then we've tracked it. This is the chart that we've generally been using, one stair step higher at a time. Now, alongside selling all their winning stock positions, very large size gold and ETF hedges were cashed out to meet these margin calls, and that was really related to stocks. And the flush of spec open interest of the chips, casino chips that were rinsed out of their hands, constructively removed pretty much all the available non-sticky spec open interest that commercials could hedge into before exposing themselves to T+1 delivery obligations they could not fulfill, hence the series of much higher fixes, which we see here. In fact, we've just evidenced 7 above 32. Global central banks are buying gold at double the rate compared to 2011 to 2021. And their gold demand expanded from 10% to 24% of the gold market since 2022. That was COVID primarily, compared to their treasury demand representing only 7 to 10% of net issuance. So CTAs are recognizing gold as an alternative first-year asset class and are increasingly looking to gain long-term exposure to ETF gold as well. And the as-yet untapped influx of ETF buying alone is sufficient to conservatively raise the gold price by about $1,000 per ounce.
And Andrew, this has to be the most asked question by our silver stackers out there. What are you seeing in the extremely underpriced silver markets right now?
Yeah, and underpriced is the name.
Nah, just a second, I gotta get some water.
Unbelievable. As we picked up again in our last episode, China is no longer able to hide the silver accumulation footprints. And liquidity providers assess they have cornered sufficient global silver supply to let it just run higher. 2 weeks ago, spot silver flipped from an 80% discount to trading at a consistent premium to the May futures contract. Now, the clues are there in just by, as a trader, you'd know, well, hang on, you mean the spot price, in other words, it's backwardated. So these synthetic futures backwardations to spot reveal the cartel's paper to physical disconnect, and it's being reeled in very large size. The cartel has aggressively gamed the COMEX-centric silver futures correlation to the falling stock market. So obviously we've seen that correlation, and we've seen it in the charts as well, and where we see silver auto sold. And that's nothing to do with margin calls, much like gold, where it had margin calls. They had no. This is a correlation. So the cartel gamed that. However, this synthetic overshoot of an undersupplied physical market has been jumped all over by China. As a result, liquidity providers expect a physically driven rally to force the cartel, silver shorts, to move to short cover into any further related automated stock market selling. Now, looking at silver, liquidity providers assess that the Friday, April the 4th, last-ditch cartel attempt to protect shorts ahead of a physically driven spot silver upside breakout, and we'd seen that it was getting very, very close to breaking out, and we saw this massive counterintuitive, and we saw this as the last-ditch attempt. And the clues are all there. I mean, it's so clear that they're running. This is running too thin to continue. The clues are there, commencing with this was an 82-cent May futures contract backwardation, meaning that the spot market was trading at close to $1 higher than the May futures contract, illustrating. I mean, this low here that we witnessed here. The actual fix that followed that was actually above 30, and even then it was backwardated. And from this moment here, spot has been trading at a premium this whole way up to futures, and it's telling us silver is about to break out, and is still commanding a 6-cent premium over the May contract. And since then, so spot silver evidence an unrelenting global spot premium. This has not faded. It's clear that Asian, primarily Chinese, physical silver buyers are steadily overcoming cartel short sellers. Now, while there's a fight at every round number, and we see it again, the reason that I haven't got this at 33, which is what it should be in the futures, is because the spot market is trading at right now at a 4-cent premium to futures. So really, as far as the myopic futures guys are concerned, this is all they see. What they don't see is a silver market that is strong, very, very strong. As these spot and futures gold markets continue to rally into all-time highs, these counterintuitive silver capping efforts are stretching an unsustainable. We've seen it at 104-to-1 gold-silver ratio, and we're still seeing it at 101 today. This is unsustainable. It's telegraphing that this deeply backwardated cash-settled silver contract versus deliverable spot is reaching capitulative extremes. And just as a note, while the cartel's been able to cap the spot silver fix sub 33 today, we can see very large spot buyers are active in India, China, and Saudi. So while we expect the ebbs and the flows of tariff talk to create additional volatility in both gold and silver, these shorter-term higher pricing levels ultimately lead to the larger market weighing machine to reveal both gold and silver are underweight on this weighing machine. It's really straightforward. And I think, so really we're moving into a holiday weekend. What is usual is you usually see the cartel trying to rinse out, see it time and time again on a Friday or on a holiday. They try and find some speculators. There are always some speculators who really are just trying to game the price. You can understand them. That's not a problem. And they're easy to rinse. But what we're saying is so much ETF demand coming in that it is actually offsetting, and we're talking about the synthetic market here, that is, while they are technically synthetic,
That's paper.
These are investment managers who are not mandated to take any physical gold, to look for long-term investment, and they're looking for hundreds of dollars higher prices. So a little dip here and there is only going to make them add more. So I think we can just finish up by saying, well, looking at the bigger picture into the Asia buys, the West sells, chatter that we've looked at, it's clear that it is our stalwart stackers, your stalwart stackers, have been the winners against the cartel. The only question yet to be asked is how much physical gold and silver do you own?
Not as much as we are going to own. So he doesn't answer the question, when does COMEX blow up? And silver, we believe July 1st is when it'll be Basel III, and then they'll have to cover the silver. Now they don't have to. They should, but they don't have to. That's why they're not paying it off. That's why they're not buying silver. And where Alligator said, "Oh, it's China keeping the price down." They just showed you this huge drop was not China. The huge drop was the bullion banks keeping it under 35, because if it broke out, they'd be dead, because they'd have to cover all the derivatives that are call for delivery, and they can't do it. They don't have it. It's not available. In my mind, gold and silver are gone. The first step, like I said, the Super Bowl tickets, they've been bought. Now it's secondary market, and that's where I think gold and silver are. They're going to the mines for it. It's crazy, but COMEX should never be pricing it, just like it should never be pricing orange juice, right? So now we get a price of orange juice of $26, but it was $142. If the crop report had come out properly, it'd be $142 for orange juice. It ended at 26. Which one's right? This is the problem. Was the 26 right? No, it was a bunch of frenzy where everybody's, Eddie Murphy's selling. Everybody's selling and selling and selling in a frenzy. That's not the real price of orange juice either. This is not the real price of gold or silver. That's what I'm saying. The real price is here. The physical price that you would price these cards at. This is eBay. These are the real market prices. That's what this is in gold. And COMEX is down here. So we don't know what it is. We only know it just keeps going up. Gold's going to be bought at 3,900, at 4,500, at 10,000, because you need it now. You have to own it at whatever price. You have to get out of the dollar, because it doesn't matter. This has no value. This is gone. So if I can get gold for whatever this is, I'm way ahead, because I know this is zero. So you have to increase your inventory on gold and silver, because if you hold those, you're in trouble. If you hold stocks, you're in trouble. This whole depression that's about to happen with the tariffs, what do you think the stock prices are going to do? Bitcoin's not real. Again, you can't see it. You can't hold it. What the hell are you paying $85,000 for? I've never seen anybody buy something that you don't actually have. I mean, I buy my Canadian Club. Okay, I got it. I have it. I can buy my Lemieux rookie card. Okay, I bought the card. I have the card. Excuse me, but what did you just buy with Bitcoin? You don't have anything. Well, I have a Bitcoin. Well, you can't see it, but it's digital. I have it. Yeah, okay. And why is it going up? I don't know, but because it is, it is. Yeah, it's the strangest thing I've ever seen. So you're actually buying nothing for $80,000. I thought we learned from Madoff. I guess we didn't. I mean, you're so much better off in gold and silver, because that's going to go. That'll go to 80,000, maybe. I don't think it'll be $80,000, because I don't think the dollar will be around. I think by the time gold gets going, I think the dollar's gone. I think everything's in the BRICS stablecoins. That's where it's headed. So my friend in the sauna that says, "What are you going to do with the gold? What fiat are you going to get into?" The answer is the stable coin. That's the fiat I'm going to get into, but I'm not going to sell it. If I do need to sell it, I'm going to buy the gold stable coins, right? And learn Russian and Chinese. I know a little Russian. I got to learn Chinese. I mean, that's it. Well, maybe I don't have to. There's some BRICS countries that maybe speak English. We will see. The U.S., we're in big trouble. We don't have any gold in your Fort Knox. We have no. The Trump Mimi coin went from 60, 70 to 7. Yeah. Now, how come that didn't go up? Why is Bitcoin the only digital currency that has a value? You got to, there's a list of 100 Bitcoins out there, 100 digital currencies, and they're all worth like $1, except for Bitcoin's worth 87. Why is that? Or 85? Something doesn't smell right. I don't play with fire. I don't play with things I can't see or feel. I only play with things that I can see. I only play with, yes, I do have it. Yes, I have the gold. I have the silver. That's it. Profit. I hope the stable coin is available worldwide. Well, it'll be available in BRICS countries. Is Canada going to be a BRICS country? They should if they were smart. So should the U.S. Everybody should join. Really, it's the gold-backed currency. And the problem is the U.S., Canada, and England do not have any gold. They're literally screwed. So the people above me moved in. They got a dog that barks a lot, but I think he's outside barking at squirrels or something. Anyway, so that's what you have. You have now, I don't know if you can buy the stable coins from Canada, or you might have to take a trip and go to Russia and buy some. If you can buy it and leave the country with it. That's what's interesting. If I go to China, I can't get my gold out. So I got to take to sell, but then unless I get stablecoin with it. So we need clarification, but you'll be fine in gold because what are we going to do in the U.S. and Canada and England and France and Germany and all these that are not BRICS that do not have gold? They're fucked. But I know Germany and France and Italy have a lot of gold. It's just Canada, the U.S., and the U.K., for some reason, we're too fucking stupid to own gold. How can that be? How can we be this stupid and not own gold? All right. So this is going to be a physical coin. I think it has to be. I think it'll be digital between countries. So when China wants to buy oil from Russia, it's just going to be digital. They'll just send them the money. They'll wire them the money like we do now. I think for the population, they want to go to the grocery store. I think it'll be a physical coin. I've seen Putin with paper gold-backed rubles like this that were paper. So I would imagine what's the population going to use? They can't all use digital. So I think they will have paper money. Zimbabwe showed they have digital money, or so they have paper money. So I think that will be the case there. So we will see. What's with this fucking dog? I always have to break in the new neighbors, teach them who the boss is, which is me. Shut the fuck up so I can teach. So we'll see, but I've seen physical paper in Zimbabwe and Putin, and I would imagine stable coins are coins, or otherwise, what are you calling them? That's why I laugh about Bitcoin. How is Bitcoin a coin? It's not a coin. It's nothing. It's you can't see it, so it's not a coin. And it certainly isn't digital gold. The only gold that is gold coins or gold bars. Anyway, so I'm all approved on my unemployment. I'll get that Monday. Well, I guess I'll get it Tuesday. I'll apply for it. Social Security's coming. Have another interview with this contractor type of company. I don't know. It almost doesn't pay for me to. I did establish the salary. She said, what'd you make at your last? Which is always a red flag because you don't want to say first, but I always bump it up a few dollars. So I added that to my figure. And I says, is that a problem? She said, oh, no, that's fine. I says, okay. She says, well, what's your strategy? What's your goal? And I said, I should be the CFO, because after teaching this class, I realized if I was running these companies, they'd do so much better than what they're doing now. You look at the market, you get the cost, you understand inflation's out there, you buy plenty of gold, and really you're just looking at competition, and you're looking at and the price, you're looking at the market. And that's what a CFO to me should do is, what are we selling our product for? What's the competition selling their product for? And then what do you do with the money? We buy gold with it. End of story. Goodbye. Now, I don't know what else the CFO does, and I don't really care. That's how I would be a CFO. I don't know that there's a rule or guidelines. And as far as checking payables and receivables, I could care less. Just pay the bills. That's why we'll have a accounting manager to do that, and then you report. Because, it's like a general. You're not fighting. You're just ordering the troops. You're making the plans. That's what I would be doing. So I told her that. So she liked that. I don't know. Anyway, we got Easter tomorrow. I'll be on probably in the morning. The pool's closed, so I will not have to leave for the pool. I'll get Chinese tonight. I might get 2 dinners because I don't know what I'm making for Easter tomorrow, so I might make Chinese. And that's it. It is Easter in Russia, so Daria will celebrate Easter. And she's finally getting her little whatever knob under her nose. She's going in next week, and that's it. So it is Easter time, and we just had the Masters. So we got NBA playoffs and baseball. Let's just go through the picks. The Cubbies over 7.5. We got Pitt. We got the Dodgers under 8. We got Cincinnati. We got Boston under 9. They're all 2 units, just small plays if you're looking for something to play, or just watch how I do, try to figure out what I do and use that as in your formulas. Football, as I've told Nick, he wanted to model it and do a formula for it. And I says, you can't for football. There's too many variables. And that's the same thing with gold and silver. You can't really track it. There's too many variables in the formula with Brics and stablecoins and the dollar going out. You never had the dollar going out when trying to measure the value of gold. Like, if you're going to track gold, you've got to have apples to apples. Well, you didn't have the dollar so heavily inflated that it's going to zero. You do now. How do I get a price? It is a totally different variable. The dollar is basically gone. So is all the dollars. Well, gold price is going to go a lot higher than it would have if the dollar wasn't going, if you didn't have this massive inflation. But between me and you, you've had it since 1971. So look where it's gone since $35. It's now up 1,000% or more, really. 35 every 35 until we get to 33.15. So maybe 1,000%. That's your inflation rate, not 1%. So when they try to tell you 1%, or we're not in a recession, we might be in a recession, they might raise interest rates. This is why we are totally out of the matrix. We do not listen to anything these idiots say, because it's all to get you off out of character and and to believe their bullshit. You're in gold because you have no risk in the portfolio. You cannot lose. What else can you get into? And if you look at the percentage increase, if we look at gold, all right. Let's look at the return on investment on gold. And if we go for 30 days, you'd have made $280. which is 9% in a month. In 6 months, you made $570 and 20%. Now, keep in mind, the higher it goes, the lower the percentage. So at 3,000, but if it's at 1,000 and it goes up 500, it's 50%. So because it's 3,000, it's 20%. So in 6 months, you made $570, 20%. And in 1 year, you made $1,000 or only 38%. In 5 years, you made $1,600 and 96%. And in 20 years, which takes you back to 2005, you made $2,800 or 676%. What is that going to be if we go back to 1971 and $35? I will do that. So that just shows you it even being price fixed, the demand's been there. Gold is still going through the roof. There is no substitute for that. Hey, Real D, happy Easter to you. What do you want, baseball, basketball game? Profit. Deb couldn't believe it when I told her she made over 500K on her bars in the last 2 weeks. Well, this ain't nothing. This is nothing. This is a joke. This is 3,300. When it hits 5,000, then so really, you both will be retired. I don't know if you'll stay married or what your plans will be, but I would definitely get a few bars and you're retired. I mean, I'm ready to retire as soon as silver starts kicking in and we see $500 silver price. I won't be answering for. The only thing I'll be doing is Teaserking, and if I do some seminars on Austrian economics and gold, that's all I'm going to be doing, and that's fun. But I ain't going to work at these for those idiots anymore. I told her I worked at Tenneco, and the recruiter, I heard a lot of bad stuff about them. I says, yeah, I thought what they did was really rude. And letting the smartest person in the room go probably isn't an ideal thing. But, I just kind of said, well, I'll just watch my gold price. I'll go buy more gold and silver. So I think the prudent thing is to buy more silver now. If you can afford, I don't know if you can afford an ounce. If you can afford an ounce of gold, buy it. It's harder to double. I mean, I bought it at 1,700. I've almost doubled now, right? I bought this for at 250 an ounce, right? This is 1995. This is probably double, right? Well, it's gone up 5 times. I saw at 3,300, this is worth about 2,500. I paid 500 for it. That's the point of it. But can you double it now at, you buy it at 30, it's going to cost you 34 and a quarter. Can you double it? Well, it's going to take a while to go up to 68. It will, but it'll take a while. But silver at 32, well, what is silver? Silver's 32.40. So I can easily make 5 times 1,600. That's a no. That's 5 times. That's really a no-brainer. So I can really get a higher return on silver, but owning gold, I'd still buy gold. A little more silver, but that is a good idea to take an ounce of gold and get 100 ounces of silver for it. Because when the silver runs, now I don't know if it's going to get to 10 to 1 or where it's going to go, but I would think it would get better than 100 to 1. Just because gold will get so high, you can't afford gold, you're going to buy silver. And so when that's the case, silver will run. Silver is extremely, that's like selling this card for $1. Right? Cal Ripken looks like a really strong 9 or 10 rookie card. Probably $5,000. It's like getting this card for $50. There'd be a pretty strong line to buy that card, or to buy Hank Aaron at $70,000-$80,000 card. This looks like a 9 or a 10, 1968. Yeah, it's $5. Yeah, okay. I'll take as many as you have, and that's really the point. That's what silver is. It's so undervalued. You just buy I would buy at least 1,000 ounces. That'll only cost you $3,000. It's the best $3,000 you ever spent in your life. And you're at the point where it's about to go. It's close. We're waiting for July 1st, but eventually the demand for silver and to get out of the dollar it's a double header, right? Solar panels and the military need it and that. You don't keep the price down because they want to build missiles. The price is what the market says it is. You can't stop the price from going up. There's just too much demand because it's worldwide. And so when this will be by the end of the year, I think once silver breaks, and let's think July 1st, we know the demand's there means nothing because COMEX owns it. But look for COMEX. Once we get Basel III and they have to settle, then you'll never see $50 silver again. It'll go 100 and then 500 and then 1,000. So we know this. This is not a guess. We know that's what's happening because we understand economics. We understand the demand's there. And it's for everything. But we also understand it's money. And that's the key, not the military and all that shit. It's money, and it'll do like gold. Gold can't be stopped. They're trying to stop it. They do the big, 29 and 60, last week. And what did it do? You pissed China off and it went all the way up to 33. And now they're calling for 45. I'm calling for 10,000 on its way to 25. But it's because the money's worthless. So we got all the triggers. The Titanic's sinking, so you have to get off the boat because it's sinking. You have to get on the lifeboat. This is Titanic. This is sunk. This is gone. You printed it to death. So once we know this is gone, you have no choice. There's no other boat to get on, right? You can't stay on the boat. It's going to be at the bottom of the Atlantic. So you have to get off the boat. And the only boat you can get on is the lifeboat, which is gold and silver. So that has to raise the price. And that's there is no option. There's huge demand to get on the boat. People don't want to go to the bottom of the Atlantic. You start taking people's money away, they get pretty serious about getting the fuck out of it and getting into gold at any price and silver. So silver will be the beneficiary, being 32.40. Seeing 32.40, it's just going to trigger it. So it'll just keep going, running and running. And then we'll, like I say, we'll see 500 an ounce. Once it hits 100, it's just going to keep going. So what I'm saying is, you buy it at 32.40, you're going to make a few dollars when it hits 100. 100% of return is 64.80. So call it $65 is 100% return. Every 32 after that's another 100%. So if it goes to 100, you've made 200%. Right? That's all it is, every 32.40. So it's going to be a huge return. Silver, now, if you buy 1,000 ounces, I don't know what you have. I got 700. If it goes up to 100, I got 70,000. Right? Very simple. We're doing nothing, just buying it cheap. So if you have 1,000 ounces, every 100, you make $100,000. Not bad. So that's where you kind of want to be. So that's a good alternative. These are just fun. I mean, these are assets that will go up, that'll be priced in gold. People with gold will still want these cards. These are real assets with the real, just like you have money now. You still have money, you'll buy the card, right? I'll still buy the Lemieux rookie as long as I have this. So if I just switch it to gold, it's still a real, I'll still want a Rolex, I'll still want a Picasso, I'll still want a Mantle card. That doesn't change. That's the key to buying real assets. There's always demand there, demand for this, for gold. That's always there. But not Bitcoin, sorry. Show me a Bitcoin, please. That's the riddle of all riddles. Show me a Bitcoin. And nobody can because it doesn't exist. And the real problem is, why do people believe in digital shit? What is it about it's digital that you immediately go, oh wow, then I got to buy some? It's not real. You're buying something that's not real, that you can't even see. Are you out of your freaking mind? Oh my God. How did you get talked into that, Madoff? How did you get talked into buying something that you can't see and you can't hold? This is scary how stupid people are, that they'll just blindly, oh well, because it's worth 80,000. What's worth 80,000? I don't know. I can't see it or hold it. Okay. Well, good for you. Good luck. I'm going to buy real things with my money. You can buy fantasy things. I don't know what it is. Anyway, keep away from that. All right, Chinese tonight, Easter tomorrow. I'll be on early. Again, the picks for you, Real D. We got the Cubs over 7.5, Pittsburgh, the Dodgers under 8, Cincinnati, and Boston under 9. Those are your 5 picks today. The Tigers will score 7 runs because that's what they do every game. I've never seen a team score 7 runs again. 7-0. They'll lose 7-0. It's 4-3. It's 6-1. It's always 7. It's if we're playing craps, it would be they'd 7 out the whole time. So profit, enjoy, teach Deb, tell her to watch the class. If she can give me a question, if she wants to email me. Yeah, I mean that's nothing. 500K, especially with those bars. So yeah, you guys won't be working soon. I guess that's it. So again, tariffs bad, gold good. COMEX bad, the stable coins and Brics good. So we'll have to figure out, once everything is, how do we get stable coins? Now, I don't mind selling an ounce of gold for a stable coin that's backed by gold. That's fine, but then I would just probably keep the gold. But we'll see how we have to spend things. Profit. Her dad knew what he was doing for sure. Well, obviously he did, except for leaving it in Africa and Egypt instead of sending it to her already, making her be married to get it. I don't quite understand that. I mean, what if she never got married? So where did the gold sit in a bank in Egypt? So we'll see about that. But yeah, I got a few friends. I won't give them gold till they straighten up. That's the part you don't like. Yeah, well, and making you pay for the shipping, I don't understand. And then that's just to get to you. You still gotta. I mean, you if they're all coming to you, you then got to ship them to her, or you got to cross the border with them, or something, which doesn't make sense. Because what are you going to do? Pay for shipping, come to you, and now the insurance on the shipping just went way up, and then you got to get them to her, and hopefully you get to keep some, and then off you go. So that's going to be the problem. I would almost make her come to you, and then she can take them, as opposed to shipping them a second time. Send her money by Bitcoin, really, and hope it gets there. Well, I mean, that's the thing. You'd have to sell the gold to get the money, right? So you don't really want to sell it. It's just going up. I don't know. You gotta a strange thing going on there. So think it through. Take your time. I send Daria money by PayPal. I don't use Bitcoin. Well, sell one bar to give you money, but like I said, we could sell that here. The guy was like, "Oh, I'll take it." So you can definitely sell it here, but he's going to give you a check for whatever 200-300 grand, and then you just take it to your bank to cash it. But yeah, we'll see. But gold's going, and it's not like it's a stock running. It's not like good earnings. It's you must have it because you must get out of the dollar. You wish you lived in Detroit? Well, you can come in and visit. We used to go to Montreal. My uncle lived in Montreal, worked on the space shuttle or whatever. And most of my mom's family was from Toronto. So we'd go to Toronto a lot and meet. He'd come from Montreal, and then we went to Montreal a couple times, and then that was it. So anyway, anything else? I'd go with you to your coin shop. Well, you're welcome to. Just come over, and I don't know what you would do for the border in Windsor, but you could. I don't know if you declare it. Do you have to pay something? I don't know how that works. I never declare any of my stuff. Your mom's family is from Detroit, okay? So yeah, I mean, you could take one, just keep it in your luggage, saying, just visiting family. Normally they don't stop you and check you. Depends. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, maybe it depends why you're coming. Like when I come and when I met Jenna in Italy, I brought a gold coin, but I wasn't going to sell it. Why should I pay duty on it? I don't pay duty on this. So when I walk through customs or passport control, I have this. I don't pay anything. I have 2 ounces of gold in my pocket. I don't even say anything. And nobody asks me. I mean, even at security, they don't ask me. So I don't know. You're better off driving, I think, because you don't have to go through X-ray. But when you come to the border, I don't know, do you declare it if you're going to sell it, or if you just have it, do you have to declare it? I mean, I've never declared this. And you obviously see I have it on, but I've never had a problem. I've never declared it, and nobody had ever said anything. It's just, but jewelry normally it's jewelry, so they don't do anything with it. I don't know. I have to do a Google on that. When do you have to declare duty on gold? Don't know. Well, I don't. Again, maybe it's the purpose. Or what are you declaring? You're going to pay duty on what? I'm not selling it. I'm just bringing it in. I don't know. That's what I don't know. So maybe you declare it, but you don't pay duty. That's your little research to do. Is, am I going to sell it? Then I pay duty on it. If I'm just bringing it in, why am I paying a duty on something I'm not gonna? I'm just carrying it. So I don't know, but I've never ever paid anything on my gold when I take it to Jenna. Never, are you bringing it in? And the easy way out of gold is say, well, it's only worth $50 because that's what the real value is of the ounce of gold is $50. It says $50 on it. In your case, it'd be 50 maple leafs or whatever. And so you don't have to declare it. You can play stupid. I didn't know. I saw $50. Oh God, I didn't know gold was worth anything. I mean, you can play stupid. They don't. What are they going to do? So what is 10,000? Is that the value of the gold or the $50 it says on the gold? Look at your maple leafs. They probably say some of the, like the Philharmonics say €100. Well, that's not 10,000. So that is a way around it. And silver's even better. It's $1, it says on it. The bullions don't even say anything on it. So I don't know. There's a lot of loopholes and a lot of strange things that I'm not sure what they're looking at. All right, I guess that's it. So let me know what you find out there, Prophet. But yeah, it seems silly to ship it to you and then ship it to her. What do you need it for? And then just ship it to her. Ship it one time, but I'd have her pay you back for the shipping, or wire you. If she's getting the gold, why doesn't she pay the shipping? So it's really strange. I don't know why they're getting you in the middle. It should be between the father and the daughter. Need to get married. Okay, fine, we're married. Still should go to the daughter then. And if the attorney's keeping it, but that's what I would do. All right. Well, have a good day. I'm going to go swim and get Chinese, and I'm hungry. I might have a little salad or something now. www.teaserking.com. Again, Mark McGuire is, that was his show yesterday. Mostly silver. We need COMEX to break it. And then obviously gold is 4,500 is nothing. It'll be 10,000. And it has to be because the dollar's worthless. That's the key. The dollar's worthless. And the other key is you have strong demand for gold and silver. Anytime you have limited supply with strong demand, the price goes up. But what you have in silver, it's watered down, it's papered demand. So it looks like there's more supply than there really is with the paper. That's why we need it to go. You got to pay for delivery. Then that'll shake out all the bullshit paper, and you'll get to a physical market. And that's when we all retire on a nice island somewhere. All right, that is coming though, very soon. All right, www.teaserking.com. We'll look at the NBA playoffs tomorrow, the baseball, any news in the NFL draft. That's Thursday. We will talk about that next week as we get going. I did do a little bit on it yesterday. It's really a shitty draft. There's no Penix. There's no Daniel type of quarterback. Good 5 or 6 good running backs, or 7 or 8. And wide receivers are terrible. I don't know. This McMillan's an average wide receiver. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Happy Easter, and take care. All right.